Okay, guys, so imagine if you make a short film for next to zero money. You upload it on YouTube, short horror film, you get your wife to star in it, you edit it really cool, and then Hollywood notices it and starts calling you. Producers, big time, big shot Hollywood producers start calling you and asking you to make your short film into a feature film releasing in the summer movie season. That's the dream right there. Anyway, hey there guys, what's up? What's going on? It is Autobot Mike 18 here, back with another movie review. Guys, I am continuing with movie reviews. Would you believe it's the end of July already, guys? Holy crap, where did the summer go? 3 months of the summer movie season. Gone already. Just gone. Like, what the hell? We only have August left. In August, we only have Suicide Squad to look forward to. What the frick, man? But anyway, guys, I have a review today for you for a horror movie. And I know whenever I say that, whenever I even say it to myself, I immediately get scared. Horror movie in 2016. That's not a good thing. It's usually not, because 9 times out of 10, they're not that great. But guys, in this video, I'm going to be reviewing Lights Out. That's right, turn the lights out. I'm not using lights right now. I'm using natural light, so I'm safe. The ghosts aren't going to get me. Guys, Lights Out is a new directorial debut for director David Sandberg. And as I said in the beginning of this video, this movie has some interesting history, which I'm definitely going to get into. And reason why I got The Conjuring sitting behind me is because James Wan served as a producer for this movie. I know a lot of people watched the trailer and probably said, oh look, James Wan's directing that. Nope, he's just a producer, executive producer, I believe. And now we have another horror movie this year. James Wan, looking at a pretty good year. He had The Conjuring 2, which he actually directed, and now he's got Lights Out. From his production company. That said, guys, let's get into the premise behind Lights Out, and then I want to talk a little bit more about how this movie came to be an actual movie, so I'll get into that. But guys, Lights Out follows a young woman played by Teresa Palmer. She is frightened, okay? She is seeing things at night. She is seeing this ghost-like woman at night whenever you turn the lights off. If you have the lights on, you're not going to see this ghost, but if you turn the lights off, you're going to see this weird thing scratching at your floorboards and staring at you. So, not good, scary. And she is trying to protect her young stepbrother, who is living in a house with his mother, played by Bello. And this entity, this ghost, is specifically attached to the mother character in this movie for reasons regarding her past life, things I don't want to get into or spoil. And it's up to Teresa Palmer and her young stepbrother and her boyfriend to figure out what the hell is going on and stop this ghost and keep the lights on at all times, because that's some scary shit right there. So guys, Lights Out. How did this become a movie? I summed it up in the intro of this video, guys, perfectly actually. Director David Sandberg is a Swedish director. Literally one night decided to make a short horror film with his wife who actually makes a cameo appearance in the first scene in this movie, in the warehouse. He decided to make a short film with her, short horror film, where the premise, it's literally about 3 minutes long, and it's on YouTube. You guys can watch it. Maybe I'll leave a link to it somewhere in this video. And the short film basically had the same idea that this movie has, that if you turn the lights out, you can see this entity, this ghost-like thing, but if the lights are on, you can't see it. So he made this short film and he uploaded it to YouTube, practically got, it got a lot of attention. A lot of people watched it and thought it was creepy and scary. Didn't really send it to any big festivals or anything like that. Maybe sent it to one and it didn't get in or something, I think I read online. And he got contacted by a bunch of Hollywood producers, and obviously this landed in James Wan's lap, and he took over with his production. His production company was heavily involved. Warner Brothers and everyone distributing this and everything, Rat Pack, everybody got their hands on this movie and this idea and concept, and it's now a feature film starring Teresa Palmer and Bello, and it has come out right during the summer movie season. Why can't that be me? I'm kidding. No, Congrats to that guy. That is luck. That is really cool. I'm not going to hold the poster throughout the entire movie, throughout the entire video. But that is really, really cool. And I actually did watch that short film. My girlfriend and I were actually talking about this movie a few weeks ago, and she showed me the short film on her phone. I was like, oh shit, yeah, I remember this. I watched it. I forgot where I watched it, honestly. It was one of those things, maybe I watched it with a friend or something, or maybe I even watched it in class one day. It's so short, and I just completely forgot about it. And right before I saw this movie and right after having seen the movie, looking this thing up and doing my research, I was amazed that this is how they made this movie. Like, that is the typical Hollywood fantasy dream right there. This guy is now getting thousands of dollars because they have his name and they have his concept based off his short film, which you can watch still on YouTube. It's amazing. So guys, lights out. What did I think of this movie? Now, you may have made a decent short film and published it on YouTube. But now, once in the hands of Hollywood executives and everything, is it going to become just that remaked, rehashed, just cliched Hollywood horror movie garbage shit that we've become accustomed to so much nowadays, especially in the modern day, because 90% of horror movies we get nowadays suck, they're awful. I saw the trailer for Ouija 2 before watching this movie, and I wanted to die, but there you have it. That's what happens when your movie goes to Hollywood. So, was this movie good? Did it live up to the short film? Yeah, I think so for the most part. I think it was pretty faithful, and I actually love how they actually expanded on the short film. Because I would say, the only thing that is connected with this short film that the movie is based off is the idea of something being in the dark. You could see it in the dark. It can attack you in the dark, but when the lights are on, you can't see it. You know, the lights almost scare it off in a way, or it's the being or the ghost's it's kryptonite essentially. So that whole idea is still in this movie, but there's a whole broader backstory as to what this ghost is, what it wants, what it's doing, and I thought that was very original and very smart in regards to the writers and everything and where they decided to take this movie, because I would say about 90% of this film is its own thing. It has nothing to do with the short film other than the overall concept that I just mentioned. So I definitely am going to give praise to the writers for that, because I really enjoyed where they took this. I really enjoyed the idea of having this ghost be a being that is connected to the lives of the characters in their past lives and everything. And there's this whole really interesting and intricate backstory that I really liked. There's one thing that I think they could have delved further into that backstory. It's brought up in a scene later that I'll briefly mention without spoilers. Other than that, I really bought into it, and I thought it was really clever and smart, and it really gave way for a very sort of like emotionally resonant sort of payoff. The movie says a lot about essentially friendships, in a way, when you look at it, if you want to look at it broader, and how, somebody's, like, I guess, like, birth defects can ultimately be their downfall, and, friendships transcend such a long span of time. And I really liked where they were going with that, what they were ultimately trying to say with this movie as a horror movie. I also thought the characters were overall very well done and well written and very well acted. I think the performances in this movie are really great. Teresa Palmer is really good here. I enjoyed her backstory as well. She sold the emotional and the oh my god, I'm scared, what the hell is that thing in my living room scratching on my floorboards at night? She sold that pretty well for the most part. And I thought Maria Bello's character was also one of the more interesting characters in the movie. Instead, we focus on Teresa Palmer and not so much Maria Bello's character, but she's like in the foreground because of why what's happening is connected all to her for reasons I don't want to get into. I really liked that overall thing that was going on with this movie. Now, this movie is really short, guys. Lights Out is like straight up 1 hour and 20 minutes, no more, no less. And that definitely works because the pacing in this movie is excellent. There wasn't one scene where I felt the movie was dragging or anything. The movie literally introduces what's happening, introduces the problem. It goes and goes and goes, scene by scene. There's a scare, attempted scare, attempted scare. We're going to figure out more about the plot and the backstory, why this ghost is attacking these people specifically, and that's literally it. Then we get the ending, the climax. That's your movie. That is all you're getting. And the movie literally ends. So that can be a good thing sometimes, and sometimes it could be a thing I want to hold against the movie. My only thing with that is, again, it's going to tie back to one scene that's set in the basement of the movie that I felt was saying something really cool and creepy, but I wanted more of that, you know what I mean? Like, I wanted more stuff like that in this movie. So yeah, maybe I would have chucked another 5 minutes onto the runtime or something, but that's just me. Another thing that I think worked really well with Lights Out, apart from the script and the overall premise, I thought was the way, in fact, that the film was shot and directed. Seeing that this is the same guy who directed the short, directed Lights Out. I think that's really, really cool that they got the same exact guy. And this is like he just made this short with his wife, who's in the movie too. And they get him to direct the feature. It's just so freaking awesome, that idea in its own right. And while I thought he did a great job for a directorial debut, this guy's never directed a Hollywood movie. He only directed a short film that was shot probably on some camcorder or something back in 2013. And now he's directing a feature with a full cast and crew and James Wan producing. That's so amazing to me. But no, I think he did a very good job. The shots looked really well. But one thing I loved about this movie was the look of it. The lighting is amazing in this movie. The contrast, one face severely, one face underlit, the other half like very lit, like my face looks right now. Like, it looked gorgeous. The aesthetic of this movie was very pleasing to watch from a visual standpoint. The lighting is great, the different colored lighting. There's this one sequence at Teresa Palmer's apartment where they utilized this very awesome, like, red lighting from, like, a neon sign outside, and I thought that was, like, really cool and creative. And obviously, lights play a factor in this movie because you can't have this ghost in the lights. Like, you know, the lights harm it, essentially. So when the lights are on, you know, but the lights are off, even the other lighting, when the lights are off, there has to be lighting, okay? It looks good. It just looks really appeasing in that sense. I'll say that much about Lights Out. Now, I'm not going to say this movie is perfect by any means. I know it sounds like I'm raving about it. I did have problems with it. And obviously, my biggest problem with it is also what's going to keep me from saying this is a great movie, I'm going to go perfectly high score, are the scares. That's ultimately where Lights Out sort of hit the bottom barrel for me. I love that idea and that concept again, and the way that the backstory works into it is very, very smart and very well thought out, well planned, well constructed, and overall well done. But my problem with the scares, if you're going to give us scares that I predict and can see coming, and I'm like, okay, the light's going to go off again, and nope, they're going to be closer. The ghost is going to be closer to the character, or nope, the ghost is going to be behind them, or something like that. You know what I mean? If you see those kind of scares coming, it kind of takes the purpose and the fun out of, oh crap, I didn't see that coming, out of, you know, another horror movie that could do it that way, okay? So, several scares didn't work for me. They just came off as jump scares and the music just blasted at the right moment. I think that James Wan has done it better in movies where he, you know, subtly used music to swell at the height of a scare, or completely threw a 180 and didn't go for the scare that you thought he was going to go for. So that's where I kind of drew the line for Lights Out and was like, okay, that didn't work for me, that quite didn't work for me. There are two moments that did genuinely creep me out and I thought were very well done. There's one moment involving the boyfriend and just the car. I'll just say that much. I loved that sequence. That really creeped me out a little bit. Other than that, almost every other scare I either saw coming and thought just didn't quite work. I do love the ending and the payoff that we get with our characters, specifically with Maria Bello's character, without spoiling anything. I thought that was great. It's just the scares didn't hold up like they kind of should have, or like I wanted them to for this movie. I also feel there's one scene, without spoiling it, I mentioned this throughout the video, one scene that bothered me was the scene in the basement. You've seen in the trailers, Teresa Palmer has a black light on, and she discovers a lot of things down there. That's all I'm going to say. And it ties into the past about this ghost and about Maria Bello's character. And I thought they did a cool job of establishing that using like this black light lighting, and was really creepy and atmospheric kind of. And then the ghost is there, and then they're out of that scene. You know what I mean? Like, they're out of that environment in the basement, okay? So I wanted more of that. Like, they set that up so well, and I was like, where is this going? This is really cool. I wanted them to delve into more of that, investigate further into that. So that's kind of where my problem was. And if I had to complain about anything else with Lights Out, I will say this much. The damn main plot point of Maria Bell's character being such an important character in the movie is spoiled in the trailers, but they spoiled it more so than I've been talking about it. So that's why the trailer... Don't watch them if you're going to go see this movie. Guys, that said... There's great characters in this movie. There's great backstories. It definitely has that creepy vibe throughout most of it. Not every scare may work, but the performances did. The lighting is great, especially in that warehouse scene in the opening, which was really cool. The direction is really good, and the pacing is overall really good. So guys, in the end, I'm going to give Lights Out a solid grade of a 8 out of 10 or a B-. I definitely think this is a movie you could see. I don't think it's anything you have to rush out to go see. I would maybe see it, rent it. It's definitely something you could wait for on Netflix or something, or maybe take a date to it late night if you're going to pay for it cheap. Maybe do that. But it's fun. It's not a bad horror movie by any means. It's not perfect, but it is fun, and it does have its really creepy moments throughout it, built throughout it. So guys, those are my thoughts on Lights Out. I almost said Inside Out for some reason. Leave me your thoughts on the movie if you've seen it down below in the comments, and as always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye bye guys.